What if you were told that you're fat and it's entirely your fault? It would make you feel belittled, ashamed, and depressed. That's exactly what this California mom did when she posted this picture. She basically made a lot of people mad because they were being ashamed. However, what if science were to tell you that if junk food, not your motivation, it's actually what's to blame? Would it change the way you would look at yourself? Would it change the way you would think? Would it change the way you would eat? The most important question. Obesity in America has reached epidemic proportions. So according to the Centers for Disease Control, over 69% of adult Americans are either overweight or obese. It has been a long popular belief that overweight and obese people were unwilling, unmotivated, or undisciplined enough to lose or keep the weight off. This leads to overweight people being constantly stigmatized as being lazy. However, according to UCLA psychology professor Aaron Blightsdale, in a study he published this past month, there was a link that he found between junk food and highly processed foods, it being a direct cause for fatigue. Life scientists at UCLA, along with Aaron Blightsdale, placed 32 female rats on 2 different diets for 6 months. The first diet was a standard rat diet, which contained mostly unprocessed foods like ground corn and fish meal. The second diet included a highly processed, lower quality food with substantially more sugar, which is very similar to human junk food. After 6 months, they noticed that the junk food diet rats had gained more weight and that they were noticeably fatter. As part of the study, the rats were given a task that would receive rewards. The junk food rats demonstrated not only impaired performance, but they also took longer breaks in between their tasks, taking nearly twice as long as their leaner rat counterparts. The junk food diet induced obesity as a cause rather than effect of laziness. They feel either the junk food causes fatigue or it causes obesity, which causes fatigue. While this study was done in rats, this may not be the first time it was proposed a link between obesity and fatigue. In a November 2006 study published in the Annuals of New York Academy of Sciences, researchers found that there is an association between fatigue and excessive daytime sleepiness with those individuals that were obese. In this study, they also went on to state that sleep apnea, which is a co-symptom a lot of times of obesity, may not be the only cause for fatigue and this excessive daytime sleepiness. In fact, they found that some obese patients who did not even have sleep apnea were sleepier than those who were not obese. So their connection is that obesity, again, is possibly leading to this fatigue. Obesity not only affects your sleep and fatigue, but it can also have a negative effect on your cognition. Lynn O'Shaughnessy for CBS Money Watch reported in 2012 that a study released by UCLA biology professor Fernando Gomez-Pinilla that binging on soda, candy, and other sugary snacks for as little as 6 weeks may reduce your brain function. In this study, Dr. Gomez found that eating a high fructose diet over the long term alters the brain's ability to learn and remember information. Some of the major sources of fructose include cane sugar, high fructose corn syrup, which is commonly added to junk food such as soft drinks. Obesity has not only become a health epidemic in the U.S., but it also has an economic impact in the U.S. as well. In an article published by Forbes in 2012, obesity has higher healthcare costs than smoking does. The author Rick Unger reported that obesity in America is adding $190 billion to the annual healthcare cost, which exceeds that of smoking, making obesity the #1 public health enemy. Rick Unger goes on to report that men add about $1,500 a year, while women add over $3,600 a year to the annual healthcare costs. The cost even higher for those men and women that are uninsured. Obesity isn't just limited to adults, unfortunately. More children and teens are becoming plagued by obesity as well. In 2011 article published by the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, they report that between 16 to 33% of American children are obese by medical standards. They also report that overweight children have the propensity to become overweight or obese adults. According to the article, children who are obese between the ages of 10 and 13 years of age have an 80% chance of becoming obese adults. So to recap, the obesity is not just simply a problem of a person being lazy or being unmotivated. There is real science that indicates that junk food and highly processed foods, which have become so popular in America now, and those that contain a large amount of sugar can actually make a person more fatigued, just making the problem worse for everybody. So in addition to it being a very expensive epidemic for both adults, children, and adolescents, but it doesn't have to be. Obesity is one of those 100% curable and 100% preventable diseases. Perhaps maybe we as a society need to reevaluate our food sources and maybe reevaluate our food education. Thanks a lot.